excited. If you are for Lowkey, let's have a cheer. If you are for InControl, let's have a cheer as this game gets started.
All right, so taking a look at the compositions here, we are going to see a ton of main power-up played by both of these teams. I see 3 out of 8 playing the stealth jump, so that's going to be one dynamic. Another dynamic, as we just saw on screen there, is going to be the Tenta Camobrella matchup, as those two canopies are going to be clashing constantly.
And you see right now, already they're getting a little bit congested there. InControl's been moved one way, and that makes it very easy for players like Misa and Arashi to get big picks, but good job there. And what a fun matchup to watch right here. Swatted out of the air. And Zach, we said that lots of knockouts happen here. This is one reason why. The one going to walk this all the way to 20, and this push isn't over yet.
Yeah, the two newest specials are going to have a bunch of fun fighting each other. The Booyah Bomb with all of that additional armor once it's popped versus the Hammer with that deadly one-shot kill. Getting brought out there, but unfortunately not going to make an impact, as they're comfortable just letting that Rainmaker reset back to mid. They've gotten Lowkey down to just one player left alive. They're not anywhere near their special, so InControl currently with the advantage special-wise, and they're going to need it, as a 20 push, difficult to beat even on this map.
It is. They're going to take their time here, get as much mid control as they can, and they did pick off Misa there, so that's going to be a frontliner out. It's not going to pay dividends just yet because the Rainmaker wisely grabbed here, and that's going to burn their specials and take out 3 of them. They just tripped over themselves right there, Zach.
Yeah, Bad Savage being that constant person staying alive, potentially even a player that the rest of InControl can jump to. However, they are just going to jump out and instead maintain control of that Booyah Bomb, which is going to allow Lowkey yet another push. Unfortunately for them, there's only about one proper way to get through this map, and it is by going all the way around the right-hand side bend. And we've talked a little bit about this Inkjet. Very uncommon choice, and unfortunately meeting an untimely end there.
It is Quake going to have to make a big play. How are you still alive? I'm not entirely sure there, but staying alive and at least slowing the one down here. Now coming out, and the one snuck behind that, trying to continue punishing, and does take out the Hammer. Quake still staying alive. They are fighting for their lives right here. As soon as that door falls, that's going to be too much. And Arashi narrowly missing that one-shot pick right there. Going to retreat back to mid, but it has been all Lowkey so far. They have not given up mid since that initial pop.
Yeah, I think there have been a lot more just general team fights in this match than we've seen in some other sets. That is pretty indicative that both of these teams are not afraid to get aggressive, afraid to get back into mid as quickly as they can, and even for Lowkey with a lead of 20, afraid to pick up the Rainmaker and waste even more of InControl's time.
And we've seen this same cycle repeat a couple times here, right? The Rainmaker's been over on that door side, that right side so often. You're seeing that InControl has to send people around that moat to try to get picks, but there are members of Lowkey waiting for it at all. They know that as long as the Rainmaker is in that position, they are at a stark advantage, and as we get to just over 2 minutes left, that Rainmaker hasn't been in the center for a minute. Finally, the reset is going to give them a little breathing room, but they've got to find a play quick.
Yeah, we saw that Stingray didn't really get too much out of it. It's difficult for it to have much of an impact without the objective being in play. Arashi going to pick up one with the Hammer, looking for a second, but it's 2 Hammers pushing forward, 3 total out on the field. The short-range yeet going to find a pick there, and that is a blazed path for Lowkey. They're actually taking the left-hand side push, so even though there was a path on the right-hand side, that allowed InControl to get over and stop the Rainmaker from being lifted on top of that raised platform.
And Quake may have just saved the game for them right there. He was the last person even remotely close to that. What is the one going to manage to do here? Not getting any more points, but again, keeping that Rainmaker in a very strong position here. Now they're going to have to find another way back to mid, although I will say the right side is going to give them an opportunity to make a counter push that the left side wasn't.
Yeah, I think Quake mainly looking to be a thorn in the side of InControl there as they look to push forward here. Lowkey getting taken down pretty immediately. They would have fallen anyway, as all 10 of those Tenta missiles were solely targeting them. And you can also see the Toxic Mist, another very popular choice for this tournament, and you can see how well it encompasses the entirety of that opening. Bad Savage not really able to move from this wall.
No, and this is rough. You see the special here that Savage has. She's not going to get to use that. Still barely alive, and again, we talk about it so much. You can only wait so long before you make a push here, but everything that we've talked about so far with it being over there now swings back in favor of InControl Splatoon. Now they're going to be able to push it over to that side, but the one says, we're not even worrying about that right now. We're not going to give you any sort of advantage. Take it back to mid and try again.
Yeah, the canopy allowing so much mobility there, just allowing them a gigantic shield that very few things can break, as even a 1 or a 2 shot. Quake having a 1v1 there with Misa. They're going to lose it. Misa, I want to talk too about. They have not been able to use their roller at all because it's kind of out of meta, forced to shift over to shooters, but it seems to be working out relatively well for them.
I like this opportunity. They're going to get one chance now, and you see at the top of the screen, the Stingray is not quite ready. Now it is here. They're going to need to fire this now because their frontliner's already gone down. You see the hammer coming in from Arashi. Can he sneak through? He does not. He gets taken down. That's pretty devastating here. They do have a canopy coming in from the one. They need to take him down too, and now he's down. This is looking very scary, Zach. 20 is not far. This is a sprint.
Oh, it's going to be so close to ballpoint. Splatling finally using their special, but they don't even need it. It's just going to be that Kensa splatter shot with their main weapon, locking down the Rainmaker. That opening, that gate, so difficult to get through, even in the most ideal of conditions. That's going to be a win for Lowkey, and they're really trying to make a statement saying, we're the higher seed, and we want to prove it.
And that was so scary, because if Misa hadn't snuck through, you saw that Savage had already pushed up there. I'm not sure there would have been another good opportunity had Misa not been able to sneak through. But to kind of take that back a little bit, that all started because Lowkey opted to push left. They went there one time, Quake took them down, they were able to control that, and from there they were able to take that right side wall that you can climb up and put it back in that power position that we talked about. They almost got the lead for it, and look at this, Zach. Look where they're headed back to. Splat Zone's Wahoo World. The last time we saw them here, they looked pretty good, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So trends starting to emerge with some of the counterpick maps that are being put into play. We've seen the Reef a couple of times. Now we're seeing Wahoo World yet again. So for Splat Zones, we saw it the last time in the previous set. This is just a one-zone map. The entirety of the focus, because of that, is going to be solely in mid. And because there are those platforms blocking off some of the entry points, I think we're going to yet again see one or potentially even two, one for each team, that Tenta Camo Brella coming out yet again. It's been such a popular choice. It has deceivingly long range for the archetype of weapon that it is, and it provides such a large shield that even a splash wall can sometimes not compete.
And if we look back at the last set that they played, when they played on this map, that was really the one weakness that Deep Blues had. They didn't really have an answer for that Tentabrella, and they didn't have a Tentabrella of their own. We've already seen that the one is capable of bringing his out, so I think this is going to be a good old-fashioned scrap right in the center. They need to get this win. They need to keep themselves in it. Let's take a look at what both teams are bringing in, and look at that. Both sides bringing out the Tentabrella, just as we thought.
Unsurprisingly, it's a Kensa Palooza. The Kensa weapons have made a splash in these Splatoon 2 meta. Tons of them floating around, especially with those new specials, the Booyah Bomb and, of course, the infamous hammers. We have Misa yet again on that Kensa shot, going to be sharking around, looking for Bad Savage. A 2v1 is going to shut them down. How do you take down a player that's almost always alive? You don't just send one person, you send a second.
And that's the great opportunity. Arashi going to do just that. And if you looked at the way they opened, Quake went on a solo mission on the left side of the screen there. You saw that Lowkey, with the same idea, opted to send two people there. They got their job done a little quicker. That is why they're at the advantage right now. The one going to rotate back here, and this is where the lockout phase starts. There are not many opportunities to make a mistake at this stage, Zach.
However, this is where having a backliner comes in very handy, because you can have somebody constantly guarding the zone that can still have an impact on teamfights. Gamer forced to jump out despite the onslaught of both the Stingray and the Tenta missiles. However, they will be tracked all the way to the opposite side of the map, and the kill will be avenged. So we do have just below half being reached by Lowkey. They're not losing any presence, and as predicted, when that canopy runs out, they're not much use, but while it's open, so difficult to get in.
Nah, they need to get a pick here. Z having another great game. We've talked about it here. That zone needs to fall now, though. They've been at it for so long, and I think I would have liked to see them put a little bit more presence on at least getting something down there. We're going to see a jump out, and they're going to try to use the Ray to allow the team to push back in, but look how far Lowkey is pushed up. They want them to have to use their specials to get to the zone instead of on the zone.
They're just barely going to have a couple of specials in time. Bad Savage waiting to pop that Booyah Bomb. Will pop it now, but they're too far low. I don't think they can have a presence on the objective. Gets the kill on Arashi, but it's not going to matter. They don't have the hide advantage, and what could have been a delay on the zone unfortunately results in a knockout and a missed opportunity.
And now this gets really difficult for InControl. Of course, any 2-0 hole is difficult to climb your way out of, but they have to do it on Clam Blitz and Tower Control, which, if you remember the last set, were the two that they lost to Deep Blues on. You could make the argument they are not the strongest on that mode. They're going to have to get a win on both of those, as well as another Rainmaker. And Zach, that time, that was just outplayed. It seemed like every time a 1v1 came up, Lowkey was the one winning it. They had the better strategy at the beginning, sending two left instead of one like InControl did. They neutralized anything that Camo Tenta was going. I saw twice CMO went down in the middle of hammering. I think they've got the number right now. They have the good look.
Wahoo World is a gamble, and it really relies on who's going to get to the zone first and control it the entire time, allowing the rest of those members to push up because, again, you have great visibility from that middle section. It allows you to see who exactly is coming from spawn and which side they're going to go. They can either go mid, try and climb up one of the walls and get into the objective that way, or just go straight up left or right. However, it's very difficult. Those jump ups from the walls are being camped oftentimes by 2 players. The Cam Umbrella player is just sitting on the zone, using that canopy to block off the front entry point. And the side entry points are being shut down by things like the Stingray or even the Tenta Missile. So no matter where you go, getting back into the objective is incredibly difficult without burning most, if not all of your specials.
If a wide open map didn't work, let's go about as compressed as Clam Blitz can get. Inkblot Art Academy, one of the scariest Clam Blitz maps in the entire game, I feel. If you get control of center, you can trap your opponent on their plat. That means they're not getting any clams, they're not getting any specials, and all it takes is one slip up from them for you to run right up and get big scores. Almost always this map ends in a knockout.
Inkblot Art Academy being Splatoon 2's answer to Museum de Alfonsino, both in the fact that they have relatively similar map layouts and because they're both dealing with history. Museum's Art Academy, lots of opportunities here for backliners to excel. You can stay on top of that platform and still be able to hit pretty much anywhere in the center part of the map. It's going to be pretty difficult, again, for players to get back into mid. Almost nobody goes all the way around to the left-hand side and tries to enter through mid. That way, it's very telegraphed, pretty obvious to spot. And jumping down into mid, again, relies on multiple specials being used. However, the barrier itself is all the way back close to the opposing team spawn. It's not anywhere front where you can easily throw something in from mid, so it's kind of difficult without specials to burst in. You may need to bring in something like an Ink Armor, that gray N-Zap, or even something like a Kensa Undercover Brella to try and facilitate the start of some of those pushes.
Lowkey is one of the best teams in the game at holding their positions once they find them here. The one, so patient. Gamer, the anchor. If they get control of center, I don't see a way that they can lose this game. If they get that early control, it's going to be so difficult to break out and take back mid and even get any sort of clams to your side. We will see if they have an answer. I would like to see one quick. If they get off to a good rolling start, it's going to be a long road for InControl.
If the reverse sweep's going to happen, this is where it needs to start for InControl, setting up with a relatively similar comp. However, we did see a weapon that has been terrorizing the Splatoon online ranks for the past month, only recently got retouched. That's the mini Splatling.
And I like the idea of going with that. If he felt that they weren't getting anything going with their Tentabrella, why not go with something that can shred Tentabrella and provide a lot of extra pressure as well as control of the mid? This is going to give them more room to work with. It's going to give them a better chance to get the clams. And more than anything, it's a fresh look. If you haven't been playing well, sometimes this is the answer.
I like the fact that we're seeing a lot of Tenta Missile weapons that oftentimes didn't see enough play because the special wasn't really in the meta. We've also been seeing a good amount of the Kensa mini Splatling. However, about 2 players going down on the side of InControl, bursting through that splash wall with the hammer, but that's about the one, all they're going to be able to do. It does allow them, however, to get Arashi through and to break the barrier first with that power clam. They do have the hammer in their backline, though, so this could be a dangerous push.
Out it goes. There goes one, and it might not be the only one. Here goes Arashi. Are we going to see a jump out? No, not even a chance. And 3 for Arashi. Why not? It seems like every tournament we see it. That's a quad. Take a lap and take a bow, young man.
Claps for that. That is an insane quad, using 3 of those hammer swings to get kills. CMO just trying to camp out this area as best they can, but there are still plenty of low-key members in their backline, so they have to try and clear them out as best they can. Unfortunately, with that large canopy, the one able to get in and establish a foothold for their team. Not much map control, but look at that survivability, staying alive probably 5 seconds longer than they should have, allowing them to break through the halfway mark, and they're not done yet.
And this, low-key might be the best team at sneaking jumps into really unconventional places. The fact that Gamer was even up there was because he jumped to the hammer that was over on that side. Now Misa comes back over there, and again, 2 minutes, they have all the control of mid, they have all of the points. Misa is going to go down, so there will be a chance, and to be fair, they do have pretty good clams. They have 20 of their own, but if they go down like that, it doesn't matter how many they have.
Oh, Arashi, again, just trying to use the relatively small canopy of that splash wall to stay alive. They do have those 8 clams, and their team total has 25, so they're not backing down at all. However, the opposition here in control, not being a slouch in any regard. 20 at their disposal and multiple hammers coming out. That's going to be 1 kill on to Bad Savage, 3 down, looking for the finale, and that is going to be a full team wipe, yeeting the hammer over to their spawn as a celebration point, and that is going to finish off the set. Lowkey, a relatively quick 3-0 sweep over InControl. They make their way on to losers finals.
And we said at the very beginning of that game that if InControl did not get a presence in the center of the map and establish